The other thing you really touched on that I liked when you talked about that sense of community, it's just so important because I think a lot of people have it lost. You get kind of inundated with social media and you kind of get
Mhm,
into your own zones, and it's really hard to go out and really find that sense of community. The one thing I really love that you're doing is you created Burger Bombs,
mhm,
which is I'll let you kind of go through the acronyms if you want, but you have a content-based website that's focusing on mental health, and you've also posted on your social media like, "Hey, is anybody struggling? Please reach out to me. Let me know
mhm.
how you can help." Because I think you've taken those experiences that you have with lack of community, and now you're trying to really give back to others. And so, kind of go into that a little bit, how it's helped not only helping others, but it's probably helping you in some sense.
Yeah, so before I go into the bombs, what I wanna touch on that you said is, like, when I told my story, right, like, I I tweeted it out, I think it was, like, March 13th or something like that, 2020, and, I hadn't been talking on social media as much. I just wanted to share my story because, like, I wanted people to know what I was dealing with, and also, on the flip side, like, there's somebody out there that's struggling as well.
Mm.
And I wanted that to be known to people like, hey, look, like you're not the only one going through something. And, if I help one person out there, I think that's a win for me. And so then I kind of started forming this Burger Bomb stuff. And the acronyms are kind of stuff that I use personally to get me through a lot of stuff, and I still use it. I think the thing about like mental health is it's a never ending battle.
Yeah.
You can't just defeat it in one day and it's over. It's a I kind of classify it as an enemy that's always there, always lurking, and you got to stay on top of it to really control it. And so the Burger Bombs, B of the bombs acronym is be open. Kind of what we touched on already, where you have to open up. It's going to do you good. You're going to be so surprised with the friends and family if you do talk about your story. Like, hey, like I dealt with that 10 years ago. I deal with that now, or I know somebody, one of my best friends is dealing with that. There's so many people out there struggling that I think that's pivotal. And it also makes you feel like, hey, like I'm not carrying this burden alone.
Yeah.
I have somebody to support me and help me. If I'm dealing with really bad anxiety that day, I have somebody that I can talk to about that. O is open a book. You touched
Mhm.
on the social media and the technology side of things in this world, and there's a lot of positives, but there's also a lot of negatives with it. And for me, opening a book is kind of a safe space. You're away from the social media, you're away from the instant gratification of seeing posting something, getting likes on it, or
Yeah.
whatever it may be. You get away from that instant gratification, and it's a form of meditation as well. And you can learn something. I mean, it doesn't have to be informational. It could be fiction, nonfiction, whatever you want it to be, whatever you're interested in. But for me, I love nonfiction books. I love learning about stuff. It takes me away from just going on a website and googling. I'm actually putting in work and
Yeah.
taking notes and stuff. And then the M is meditation. I use that all the time on the field. If I make an error or I swing at a bad pitch, it's really focused on my breath work and kind of slowing down the game, but also outside of it when I'm really feeling anxious or I have going into spring training, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm trying to compete for a job. You're gonna feel those anxious feelings, and so I think meditation is a great way to control that. And I think everybody should look into it. Both the mindfulness and breath work are huge. And then the next B is break a sweat. For me, kind of talked about it when I was back home during quarantine. I think getting outside and doing something for me, it's hiking or going on a walk outdoors. I think it kind of gives you perspective on, how big this world is. And like, there's so many people out there that are probably dealing with something. And so
Yeah.
going outside, seeing how beautiful nature is, getting outside of the computer screen and stuck in your house, I think that does wonders for I don't know like the medical terminology with the endorphins in your
Yeah.
brain, but I know there's a lot of studies about that. And then S is set a routine. For me, like I would have my huge rehab day. I'd be going to bed and it's like, oh my god, like I have this, and then I have to go, do some sort of rehab in the training room, and then now I have to go to mobility, and now I have to go to strength training, and it just like piles up, and you have this long list. It's like, damn, I don't know if my Achilles is going to make it through
Yeah.
this. And so what I started doing was setting a routine the night before. So I'd write down, all right, from this time to this time, I'm going to do this. And then I laid out literally my entire day, like even down to like lunch and when I'm going to brush my teeth, and like just the small nuances. And for me, it's like, it gave my like, it kind of calmed my brain, where it's like, okay, like step one's down, like from 7 to 7:01, I'm brushing my teeth. That's a win, right? You're
Yeah.
taking that as a small victory. And like for me, like setting that routine kind of eased everything, where it's like, okay, one step at a time, rather than looking at the next day as like this massive hill to climb. It's like, just keep getting the small wins, and then by the end of the day, you're gonna come out on top.